We're going to review how to get to standard form from factored form and also vertex form. So in class, I'll have you log into Delta Math, and we'll have the same two example problems from factored to standard form and the same two examples from vertex to standard form. And then I'll have your assignment will be to do 5 factored to standard form on your own, and then 5 vertex to standard form on your own. So once you click into the assignment, it's called Converting to Standard Form. We will click on the first one, and it will look something like this. Rewrite the quadratic function below in standard form. And if you remember, standard form is when we multiply everything out, we get rid of the parentheses. So I'll show you the steps for this one. Let me write it down first. So we have y equals negative x minus 4, x plus 3. Okay. So when we multiply any 3 things together, these are 3 terms, you can multiply them in any order. And so for this one, maybe I'll just show like 2 different ways we could do it for the first example versus the second. So in this one, what we could do is we could take this negative and we could distribute it to the first term. And remember, if you just see a negative, there really is a negative 1 there. So if I multiply negative 1 times x, that gives me negative x. And then negative 1 times negative 4 would be positive 4. And now I'm going to multiply that by what I had before, which was the x plus 3. Okay, so again, when you're multiplying 3 things together, multiply any 2 together first, and then take that answer and multiply by the third. And we've been looking at the area model for multiplying. So if I write any one of them on the top, it doesn't matter. I'll put the negative x plus 4 on the top, and I'll put the x plus 3 on the side. And then I'm going to draw a line wherever I have the plus and the minus separating the terms. And we're going to multiply these together. So the first box I'm going to multiply is negative x times x, and that's negative x squared. My second box I'll multiply is 4 times x, and that's 4x. My next box I'll multiply is negative x times 3 is negative 3x. And my last box is this 4 right here times 3, which is 12. So we're just finding the area of each box. And then we're going to combine like terms. And so if you notice, we have a negative 3x and a 4x. We can put those together. So our final answer will be the negative x squared from the first box. We'll combine our x's. So negative 3x plus 4x is just a positive x, so plus 1x or plus x. And then we have this 12 hanging out here at the end. And now we've converted it from factored form, where you can find the x-intercepts, which would be at 4 and negative 3. And you've converted it to standard form, which means no parentheses. And so we have negative x squared plus x plus 12. So that's multiplying it out from factored to standard. I'll do another example, and I'll multiply 2 different terms together first and then multiply it by the third term. But there's our first example that we'll do. And our second example should be the same in Delta Math as well, so we would click on the second one. And it would look like this: 9 times x minus 1 times x plus 7. So again, I'm going to write this down first, and then I'll show you how we could solve 9x minus 1, x plus 7. Okay, so when we multiply this, again, we could just multiply I could multiply these 2 first. So this is what I did for the first example, but I'll show you how we could multiply maybe like these 2 first and then multiply everything by 9. So that would also work. So again, when you're multiplying 3 terms together, multiply any 2 together first, then take that answer and multiply the answer by the last term. So this one I'll do x minus 1 times x plus 7 first. I'll use our area model, so I'll put x minus 1 on top and x plus 7 on the side. It doesn't matter which one you put on the top or the side. Then we'll draw a line down separating the terms. And in my first box, I have x times x, which is x squared. In my second box, I have negative 1 times x, which is just negative 1x or negative x. In my third box, I'll do x times 7, which is 7x. And in my last box, I'll do, here, use that color, negative 1 times 7, which is negative 7. And then we'll combine like terms, so we can put our x's together. We have our x squared as the highest power. 7x minus x is 6x plus 6x. And my last term is minus 7. So here's our final answer. well, not final, I guess. So here's multiplying the first two terms. But remember, we had that 9 hanging out in front. So if you choose to multiply by 9 last, then I'm going to go ahead and put this in parentheses and put the 9 out in front. And again, you multiply any two terms together first and then multiply everything by the third term. So I'm just going to distribute the 9, and I'll get 9x squared plus 9 times 6, 54x minus 63. And that's my final answer in standard form, which is multiplying everything out. So for either example, again, you pick any two to multiply together first, and then take that answer and multiply it by the third thing. So you've seen two different ways to do it. And then your assignment, there's 5 more of these to practice. And then we'll get to vertex form. So let's do 2 again, 2 together, and then 5 on your own. So here's the example for vertex form. And again, all it is it's order of operations. Okay, so y equals 5x minus 3 squared minus 1. Okay, so here's the problem. We could tell what the vertex is. It's 3, negative 1. We could say this is skinnier. It's a smiley face graph. But what if we wanted to multiply it out? So this is all order of operations. The first thing that we do is we square it. This is x minus 3 squared, which means x minus 3 times x minus 3. And you could FOIL, or we'll use the rectangle model. So x minus 3, x minus 3. In my first box, x times x is x squared. In my second box, it's negative 3 times x, which is negative 3x. In my third box, x times negative 3 is negative 3x. And in my last box, negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. Then we'll combine like terms, and we'll get x squared minus 6x plus 9. Now that was step 1, where we did x minus 3 squared. Our next step is we're going to multiply everything by this 5 right here. So I'm going to go right here and multiply everything by 5. So these are like the same steps that we did for factored form. All right, so we'll get 5x squared minus 30x plus 45. And then the last step is there was one more number here, this minus 1 hanging out at the end. And in order of operations, add and subtract. That's like the last thing. So we'll stick the minus 1 at the end and combine like terms. You can only combine it with the 45. So my final answer is 5x squared minus 30x plus 44. And now this is in standard form where there's no more parentheses. It's an equivalent form to the vertex form. Okay, so again, steps are you're going to multiply using the box, multiply everything by that number on the outside, and then subtract or add whatever the number is on the outside. So let's do one more of these. And then again, 5 more to try on your own, and Delta Math has more help videos if you need it. So we'll take a look at our last one together. Ooh, lots of negatives in this one. Okay. So let me write it out first. Y equals negative 9 times x minus 1 squared minus 6. All right, let's take a look at multiplying this out. First step is the x minus 1 squared, which means x minus 1 times x minus 1. So my first box is x times x, that's x squared. In my second box, negative 1 times x is negative 1x, or negative x. In my third box, again, x times negative 1 is negative 1x. And negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. We'll combine like terms. I'll just keep it red. So we have our x squared minus 2x plus 1. So there's step 1. Multiplying out x minus 1 squared. Our second step is we have this minus 9 that's being multiplied by this answer. So we'll put our negative 9 here and distribute the negative 9 to everything inside the parentheses. We'll get negative 9x squared plus 18x minus 9. So there's the second step, multiplying out that negative 9. In my third step, there's this minus 6 hanging out at the end. So again, we'll stick it at the end. We'll combine like terms. We have our negative 9 minus 6, which is negative 15. We'll keep the rest the same. So negative 9x squared plus 18x, that didn't change. And I should put a y equals, sorry, y equals. And our final answer is negative 9x squared plus 18x minus 15. So there's a bunch of just multiplying and combining like terms. And so your assignment will be to finish the Delta Math. Again, there's going to be 5 more factored form and 5 more vertex form for you to finish for tomorrow.